All right, and on tonight's what will I would assume be a bit of a short recording here. You have both Dan and
Jinx it.
myself.
Don't jinx it. That's the flag. We call it a flag. Never say the flag.
Okay, we've said it multiple times before, but when we say it before, we're like we still have a list of like dozens of things to talk about, and they're long things. What we're doing tonight, as the name implied, is that we're going to be going through the secondary objectives for the Old Dominion. We're most likely going to cover the other faction as well, and most likely what we're going to do, these are going to be separate videos. So if you see us dressed and looking the same, that's the reason why. If we had more of them right now, we'd probably do more. So the first thing we'll start with is we want to just mention what it means to be able to do secondary objectives. For secondary objectives, it's a stack of 10. We'll take a look at them and all. If you watch the unboxing that Dan did, he kind of goes through it and kind of shares a little structure. But you get 10 cards. When you go to the game, you sit down, you get ready to play, you draw 5, you discard 2 of those, you have 3 secondary objectives for the game. You score them whenever you meet their conditions, whatever those happen to be. And some of them are repeats. The rule with repeats is you can only score once per round. So if you've met the condition, and we'll see some of them, one of them is a theoretically easy condition to meet. If I meet it in say round 3, it's still met in round 4. Hey, I can score it then, but I can't score them twice at the same time. Also, scoring them is supposed to be secret because you're supposed to jot down your list and all. I just reveal it if I get them, but that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, it makes it easier, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I can see it being a secret, but to me, with the way the game is scored, I think it's more interesting to know that you start achieving. Maybe you don't necessarily show them which one, or maybe you do, but I find that fun.
There's pros and there's cons, right?
Yeah.
The game is based off mostly progressive scoring. So if you reveal them, then the opponent knows, okay, he scored this and this, so I only need to do this. So it's kind of you give him an advantage.
Yeah.
Versus the not revealing would be, okay, did he have score secondaries? Did he not score? Maybe I should really be focusing on scoring my secondaries to get the upper hand. So there's pros and cons to either one.
Yeah.
And honestly, just talk with your opponent beforehand and see what they want to do. Yeah.
If it's competitive, obviously follow the exact rule, unless the two of you have a discussion. If it's for fun, no, I'm going to let you know that I'm dunking on you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the Old Dominion cards. Now, what they did in previous versions, the cards were different overall. As far as I understand, they were the same for the faction, but different factions were different, obviously. So we're going to go through the cards we have here. So we're going to pull up the first card that we have here. And this first card is, quality is not great, but we didn't scan these in. We have fixtures. And for the other factions that we don't own,
really? I see it perfectly.
And it looks good, but it's at a little bit of an angle. So the part that matters is a little clearer than the other part. So the first one we're going to take a look at here is Slay the Living. What we're going to see for this faction is that there are 2 objectives that are duplicates. So 2 stacks of 2 and then others. So there's 8 unique objectives. For this one, it says you complete this objective at the end of the round in which a friendly fallen divinity stand controls an objective without the help of any other friendly regiments.
Okay.
I'm glad they give you 5 drop 2, because if you don't bring fallen divinity, this is impossible.
Oh, we have impossible ones too.
Yeah.
If you don't build correctly.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that's done on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I still think in my mind, this can be very tough, even if I have a fallen divinity, because the fallen divinity is a light. It's a monster, but it's still light. So, all right, I just want to pop in here briefly to discuss something. When we were talking about this, we made the realization, obviously, that the fallen divinity is light. Now, as a light, you don't score. It being a monster, it being a character, none of that stuff actually helps. Technically, as a monster, you can count as 3 stands, but that's only really for contesting style purposes. What happens in this case is you'll notice, and I cut a little bit because we had a conversation back and forth, but this says controls, not secures. You can control an objective as a light if there is no opponent there. So remember, lights just contest. It can still be yours otherwise. So essentially, you're looking at for this objective, for the fallen divinity, to just get rid of whatever your opponent is there. We do discuss it, but you'll notice we try to shy away from the word succeeds or secure, that wouldn't happen. So if we do say that, that's just a little bit of an error on our part, the way to word it. But you actually can hold, quote unquote, hold the objective if you happen to be the only thing there. You won't get it for points at the end of the game, but you will get it for the secondary. All right, now back to the rest of our coverage. But if we look at this, okay, tier 1, not bad. When you get to tier 2, better. Get to tier 3, even better. Tons of rules then. And you do count as a couple stands, but you're still there by yourself. And you need to claim it by yourself. So you really have got to be killing them out and making sure that they don't get anything else in there.
Okay, so here's the other fun part. So I play some missions though you can easily. So again, this might depend on the mission. I was playing a mission with Josh, where there were two 12-inch zones that were 12 inches up the board.
Okay.
So you just had to move in 6 inches, and you held it automatically, essentially. And my little squad of like three Dweg warriors held it for the entire game. Like, he didn't come close to that objective at all.
And that's true. As a light, I can bring it in, automatically right at the beginning of the game, if I want. And if I do have one of those big objectives. Now, the Fallen Divinity is very slow. 4-inch move in the beginning. But if I can get to an objective, even turn 2, I could probably take it.
Well, no, it's you only control objectives normally turn
3 and up. For most missions, it's turn
destroy. 3. No, I think destroy is 3 and up. Control is 4 and up. I always flip flop the two of them.
It depends on the mission. Some missions let you do it earlier than others. The mission I was playing other day, it specifically said you can get this from turn 1. They're usually around 3 or 4.
It'll specifically say it then. Okay. The mission we were playing, it said, I think it was turn 4. You couldn't start going to turn 4. But still, that's the point I'm trying to make is, like, the objective was literally on your table half, very secure. Yeah. So this might be actually an easy point.
It can be. I think it depends on exactly what your opponent's running.
Exactly.
If they're worried about you doing this, or with the power level you get. This might be something that you either, if the mission allows you to score early, do very early. If the mission is not allowing you to do so early, then you are going to be scoring this thing probably very late game when the Fallen Divinity is powered up, hopefully powered up if you're playing her that way, and then you're just murdering whatever is sitting next to you. But a good one. I have not assembled mine. My Fallen Divinity is my dessert for when I paint the rest of the army. And it's probably going to take me almost the amount of time I did for the rest of the army to paint the thing.
Not even mad.
No, well, I have, at this point, the Moria done, the 24 Moria done, and depending on how tomorrow goes, probably 3 or 9 stands of Legionnaires, maybe.
God damn it. And Manny started painting his, too.
Yes, he did.
So I got to catch up.
I had some time now. Who knows? That was my plan. We'll see if I get to him. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. It's Memories of a Golden Age. This one, give me 1 second. Let me check my actual stack. Which ones are the duplicates? I think this one is.
See, I took a picture of the duplicates by putting them next to each other. Yeah. So I can remember.
Yep. I have my cards in front of me here. So this one is a double. You complete this objective at the end of a round in which you have used the Memories of Old action at least 3 times. For anyone who is maybe newer with the army, as your dark power tiers go up, you can either go to Fallen Pantheon or essentially normal dark power. When you go towards that normal dark power, you start at tier 1, you get nothing. Tier 2, your Memories of Old now become draw events. Tier 3, they now become draw events as well as actions that you can do. So using it this way requires a few things then. This is off of the wording of the way I read it. To be able to do it as an action, you actually can you do them before as actions? No, I think you actually have to get to tier 3. So you'd have to be tier 3, and then you have to do it. So this is a late game piece, and you're giving up one of your 2 actions to do this, which feels pretty rough.
But your actions tend to be really good, though. Like, I know the Bone Golem's action is +1 Aura of Death, so you do want to kind of activate that because they can't inspire, and most of your army can't inspire.
No,
so
it's our cultists and like one other thing.
Yeah, who cares? But I think most of your armies can't inspire anyway, so you're not going to be inspiring clashing. So I think this might.
It's your actually that's a really good point. This is what you do when you get into close combat because otherwise you probably only have one action no matter what.
Yeah.
So you do need to get to a later tier, but when you're then stuck in close combat, there's really probably not much else you can do for most units. So you can start doing the action. Actually, I like that. I didn't think about it that way, but I do like that idea. Because we saw that in the game we played and all the other games I played. Once I'm in combat, I got nothing to do. I just wouldn't be doing it ahead of time. Yeah, you do have to get to 3 because there's a draw event and an action. And at that point, you're always inspired anyway. So, not that you can do the inspire action, but you already count inspired. So, this is probably a card, as long as I'm not running Fallen Divinity, that I would like to see. And if I have 2 copies, and I have, we're playing in normal points, I don't mind seeing both copies of this card.
Yeah, I could see it. It's a good late game piece, and especially if you take Blasphemous Soma. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Blasphemous Soma.
Yeah, I could see you getting to tier 3 pretty quick.
Yeah, while the character's on the board, you get 1 into your Dark Power pool of choice.
Yeah,
I see that. I see it. Dark Power pool. The other one's the Fallen Divinity pool. I also see it, especially if you have healing. I've in all the games I've played when they're large games, I've had no problem getting to tier 3. Tier 4, if I took the right characters, that might be another story. But tier 3, I get there, even by losing some models, healing them back. Blasphemous Soma. If you're running a Hyra Deacon, you have a spell that can get you more dark power. So there's a variety of ways to do this. So I fully see this as something that you can get done.
Yeah, and I like this because you can't double attack anyway. So yeah, I like this card a lot actually. Yeah. This is one of your gimme cards.
Yeah, it feels that way unless you're running Fallen Divinity, because then you have to split where it goes. And if you're close to the Fallen Divinity, she gets the power. So, if you have her, I think then you want to potentially avoid this. Unless you're playing real heavy, I'm not so worried about getting the Divinity up to 3. I'm just going to get the Dark Power to 3. But otherwise, I'm happy with this one. I think this one's really good. All right. Let's pull up Death Comes for All. Says the objective is completed if you kill the enemy warlord. What's nice about this is they give you the fallback condition. If the warlord's already been slain, the objective is completed immediately if you kill any enemy character stand. I don't know why that was tough to say. What do you think?
So I like this because we have a similar one, but it's a lot harder to complete.
Really?
In fact, yes, yours is much better. You'll see it because I don't want to spoil it, but yours is 1,000 times better than the one we have.
Interesting.
And for 2 reasons, by the way. One, it's just if you kill the enemy warlord, there's no rules to that, right? You don't have any extra requisites to that. And on top of that, if the enemy warlord's already slain, you can still get points by killing an enemy character stand. So this one, in my mind, is much, much, much better than the one we have. And I would even probably automatically take this one over the other 2 we've seen, by the way. Because the other one requires you to get to tier 3. That might happen. The other one needs to fall in Divinity. You might not have it. I think this one is your auto take if you pull it. Unless someone takes 2,000 points, I think the minimum is like you need two characters. I don't know how. No, I mean, I guess you could technically do 1 character.
You could. If you go crazy like what Steve was showing at one point with 25 like hoplites.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you could.
I saw that and instantly I told Steve about my spell, the fire spell that does it's 7 dice, right? It does 2 hits per success.
Yeah, of course.
Every rank over the first does 2 additional hits.
Yeah.
Because it's flame wall. So it literally hits and then it just keeps hitting.
You don't know. He might have been thinking 10 wide with that and just engage your entire army at once.
Oh my
god. So for Death Comes for All, I'm of 2 minds of this one.
Yeah.
Part of it is just because of the sort of list that I've been running. My lists have not had killy characters. It doesn't mean I can't kill things, but I don't have killy characters. And yes, I can kill your warlord by removing the unit they're in, and then they just die. But if your guy is tooled out for survival or murder, and I don't have either like good shooting or able to get in there well, if
I
he's
see
put
that.
into a big brick, I could see it being a struggle.
I think okay. I think if you're playing, so I think if you're playing like a combat, like if you're playing Josh
Yeah,
or George with his super killy warlord that
yeah.
like
He
does
plays
like
Nords
nine
for anyone who
attacks.
isn't in
Yeah,
our
he can.
play
Oh,
group.
sorry, he can play his Nords. Yeah,
It's okay.
he has a super killy dude that he runs with his trolls. Right, you
Yeah,
can kill those trolls with spells and stuff, and then you kill out the warlord. Right, you don't
yeah,
engage him in combat because that's what his job is. You just
yes.
kind of kill him from long range. If you play someone like me who has Dweg, I still say you take it because I run my warlord in the lightest unit possible. I run him with the ballast day, so you just
Yeah.
touch the ballast day and he evaporates. Um,
I'm not saying it's a bad choice. I think it's something that is
I
is
think it depends.
achievable.
Yes,
But you have to look at your army. Do you have the character that wants to get in there and fight them? And if not, do you have enough in this army? I would say between cares, maybe range, between
so yeah.
cataphracts, maybe being able to
Oh,
rush
the
in.
cat. I always forget about the cataphracts because no one has run them yet. You know, because people are either painting them or
Yeah,
I know
well,
that Rich
they're
hasn't had.
for either their impacts slash their attacks afterwards. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still pretty good. Especially if you can break the unit and you have the right upgrades, you can essentially get the swing again. Cool. All of that I'm on board with. Or if you have, say, your bone golems and they can get in and you just happen to
Caratids,
roll well.
caratids.
Yeah, Varangian Guard. Varangian Guard, I think once they come out, they're my murder unit. Because those
Yeah.
guys are
Oh yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
insane.
Absolutely. If I remember looking at them and I was like, this is what's probably going to get me to start Old Dominion. Although you
Yes.
have Old Dominion, but with Line Break, oh my God, Line Breaker.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
hate
for
that
anyone
rule so
who
much.
doesn't know, I'll pop it up on screen so we
I'll read
can
it. Just a Line Breaker is
talk
basically you
about it.
ignore Shield and Bastion. And the big thing with my dwarves is they get Shield and Bastion. So I'm like,
Yes.
oh no. And then I believe they're Cleave too. So it
They're
brings
cleave
my
2, memory of old, cleave +1. So they can be
yeah.
cleave
So
3. You
Cleave
don't
three.
get
So
defense.
yeah.
You
Well,
just
I
go
get
straight to
one.
evade.
I get one.
You do, but most things don't. And
Actually,
most
no, I
things in your
don't
army really don't.
because I get hardened one. That's the only reason I have
Yeah.
one defense because I'm hardened one. That is
Yeah.
the only reason my Thanes get anything. Oh yeah, this freaks me out.
Yeah, and it's the upgrade that they can take. If they take the Princeps, they can just count as inspired,
Inspired all the time.
which
Yeah,
is great. Who can take them? Essentially, they have good ways to be inspired all the time. There's other upgrades you could do. You got a lot of options.
yeah.
So you can actually at starting you could either do it right off the bat for 30 points, or you can do this in terms of doing it from tier 2. There's ways to have them inspired all the time from tier 2.
Yeah.
Overall, like I said, I do like the card. I do think it's good. I think to me it's not an auto. I had to think about what I have and whether or not I want to be using it.
No, you make a good point though, because I realized that, and it's funny because I was visiting the Discord. A lot of people were saying like, how does Old Dominion fight against Dweg? Because that seems to be the harshest matchup.
It's the hardest matchup because we don't tend to cleave mostly. As more units come out, we get a
Yet,
little bit.
exactly.
But
Yet,
even there, though, not too much. The Varangian Guard, sure, but the Varangian Guard are a restricted choice off of one character, and there's one banner I can take to take it as a mainstay, but it's only for him. No one else takes them. So my options to get that are a little bit low. The biggest thing that we have is that when we get into opponents, obviously we don't resolve in general, which is really good, but also too we cause terror. Well, your stuff tends to have better resolve than most and pretty good armor. Since we don't cleave and you kind of negate the other thing, it does make it a very big uphill
yes.
battle.
I think the Varangian Guard will help a lot.
Oh yeah, once they're out, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a unit where I'm going to attempt to magnetize it for the end of the Tully, because the arms on Praetorians, because it's essentially a Praetorian body, there is actually a socket there. You could actually put a magnet in the socket now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm going to truly do this, but you could actually socket the magnet. What I'm thinking is a little bit probably green stuff behind it or something like that. Put the magnet in, and then I might just have to take the normal spot and just slice the edge.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm going to maybe take a look at it once the kit's out.
Okay.
But all right, let's take a look at some of these ones. This one is good though. I do like it. Let's take a look at for power overwhelming. The art on these, it's black and white, but they did a really good
The
job on the
spells
way
look
they
so
put
cool
it together.
too. Yeah,
Yes,
the
no, the
spells look
spells are
cool.
very nice.
Yeah.
You complete it immediately when an enemy character stand is removed as a casualty. As the result of a dual action, one of your character stands performs. For my play, I hate this.
Yes, because you take Archimandrites, but in the list I built for 2K,
Yeah.
because I wanted to do Old Dominion, I didn't. I took, I think, Archimandrite, and I took a Zilliarch, and my Zilliarch is like super tricked out for close combat.
Yes,
Um,
they are our
yeah,
character killer. If we say we have
yes.
one, I
So
think you could
that's why I
do
wanted
it.
to do it.
But the other thing is, I also have to get my character in, and get in there and kill your character. So
True.
in this, you could play a little of a head game. You could say, okay, I know, I know the cards that they have. Okay, I know my opponent could have this card. I know he's trying to get in combat. I see what he's doing. He's going for my characters. Maybe I don't care. Maybe I can just refuse the challenge. I'll unbreak next or something like that. I think it's good if you have the option, but I think this one is potentially tough to achieve. Because you have to actually get into combat. They have to have a character there. There's several pieces I think you need in play, and I'm a little bit
Because I
concerned about
think, I think I gave the Zilliarch. It was so he was able to take 2 treasures.
Yep.
Because I think I gave him Tactics 2 or Tactics 3. I gave him Combat 3.
Yes.
And then I gave him was it Scoffnug?
Stuffnug. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I gave him Line Breaker and
Cleave and all that. Yep.
Line Breaker, and I think I gave him an armor too. I'm trying to remember what the hell I gave him. Either I gave him armor or something that made him go crazy.
There's a couple armors they can take.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was like I gave him Quicksilver or something to the effect of.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which one you gave him.
Here, let me look over here. Oh, there it is. The armor of the living saint. So you get Quicksilver and whatever the hell Blessed is. Once per round, declare before rolling a sense. Oh, okay. Once per round, you can re-roll all failed hit rolls during a clash or a volley action.
Yeah, huh. I mean it's a good option for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
For what you can do. Yeah. Again, I think it can be achieved. It worries me a bit more than some of these others do.
Yeah,
but if you're going for killing, it's not it's a good option. And again, this one is super dependent on what your opponent's doing, because if their guys are tricked out better than yours, it might not go so great. But you prefer more murder anyway. Memories of Golden Age. Okay, we did that one. Sorry, that one's a repeat because we said 2 of them are repeats.
Mm-hmm.
Bow Before Death.
Oh,
again, the names are very good. Complete the shift immediately when an enemy regiment activates and is broken as a result of the Aura Death special rule.
I like
this is our other duplicate.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
you don't like it as much, do you now?
No. Hold, wait. Though. I could see this being taken, although it's going to be super goddamn obvious. If you have like a squad of 6 bone golems spread like, what is it, 5 wide or 4 wide? And that stupid, what is the one that increases the Aura of Death? That spell that makes it Aura of Death +1.
That's a good question. I know who has it. I just have to pull.
I can't remember who it is, but you give, like, you blast the unit with Aura of Death. Bone golems go in. They Memories of Old, and that's Aura of Death 5. So 4 wide equals 20 hits from Aura of Death.
Oh no, that's on themselves. Oh wait, it's the Archimandrite, I think, has the spell that does that.
Okay.
I believe, because one of them does it on themselves.
The reason I know this is because
Dark Immolation.
This was done to me
right there,
where someone had 6 bone golems, spread it 4 wide. He was on Memory of Death. He charged my Thanes. They did absolutely nothing on the impact hits. I was like, who gives a damn? Archimandrite goes, makes me take Aura of Death extra. So I was like, oh man, that's 16 hits. Okay, that's gonna hurt. And then he procs Memory of Old, which is +1 Aura of Death. So it was 20 hits of Aura of Death, and I was like, oh my god.
Yes. That can do a lot, especially depending on their resolve, their armor, all those sorts of things. I like it. I don't want
I
it to
like it.
sound
It's
like
not
I
auto
don't like
take.
it. I do like it, but I don't necessarily like that we have two of these because this
Yes.
one is super list dependent. You
At least you have some good ones. This one is list dependent, but at least the other ones are pretty good.
Yes, yeah, and if your list does this well, I think you will do a lot of good. I think it
Yeah.
will be a good option, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. But I think there's case not everything in the
Yeah,
army has
not
aura
everything
death,
or death. Yeah.
and breaking someone, getting someone to break isn't necessarily as easy because what happens if what you did to them? Because remember, aura death only goes off when they activate and you're already in combat. Maybe I charged in, maybe I hurt you, maybe I already broke you. They have to get broken by the aura death. So it's situational. I find it very fun. If my hand of five has two copies of these, I don't know if I would ever take both, and I don't care what my list is that I'm running. I think that's too much because now I'm really just hoping
Yeah.
I get perfect timing.
Yeah, it requires, like I said, maybe take it if you have a couple units Aura of Death, you might be able to get a really quick broken result. But again, it's this one is. I'll put it this way: it's not the worst, it's not the best, but it's there if you
Yes.
need that like pick. If
Yeah.
you get two other crap ones that you don't if you get the Fallen Divinity one,
Yep.
right?
Can't take it no matter what. If you don't have a killy character, or we know one of the other ones we don't want to do. So this one at least is fun. I'm just surprised that this is the two of. I guess it fits in with like what this army does. The idea of this army that we're killing you just by being there. Our actual existence is painful to you. So theory wise, I think it's really cool. Inexorable advance. This is our next one here. It says
Oh
this
my.
objective is completed when a friendly regiment contests or holds the same objective on an enemy half of the battlefield for more than 3 rounds.
So, I have this one. I have this exact card in my deck, and I
Is it
love it.
named the same or is it a different name?
That's a very good question. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm just
No,
curious.
it's named different.
Okay.
It's actually ours is named cooler in my opinion. Ooh. Hold on. There's actually a friendly regiment that does not have. Wait. Oh, mine's more specific. Actually,
Huh.
mine's harder. Okay, we'll
Okay.
get to that.
I'm
Okay.
curious when we're done all of these because
Yeah.
we're doing these two now.
It seems
We're
like
gonna do
mine
some of
are
the other ones.
harder. That
I'm
might be the balance here.
That's
Because
what I'm
Dweg are very
curious.
hard, but some of our secondaries are almost not impossible to, but there are some heavy restrictions on ours.
I'll be curious when it's all said and done. Are some secondaries seemingly easier as a way as another balance point? So maybe yours they say, hey, you know what? Your units are in general more survivable than ours. That across the board, that's a fact. I know it's not true in every circumstance, but across the board. So your thing of live is more difficult to do. This is still not easy. You essentially need to get in the enemy's half and stay around for 3 turns because you need to either be holding or contesting. The fact they let you contest as well is good, but you need to live on their side of the board for 3 turns. This could be very easy if you got a board where there's a lot of objectives, they're spread out. You're able to maybe collapse a flank, or
Yeah.
you're able to sit a heavier unit. You got a unit of say legionnaires, just sitting there, spears at the ready.
Yep. If you want the reason I took this is because I was playing the mission with Josh, who was
Yeah,
playing Wadroon, and the objective was literally 6 inches up the board for me because it was a 12-inch objective that was 12 inches up, so that'd be 6 inches away from the board edge, right?
yeah,
Math. Um, I just walked my Dweg up, double moved them, and I sat literally 3 stands on the barest minimum of what I needed.
yeah,
And yay. like
yeah,
I got this immediately. Now again, the reason I had to use my warriors and not my balance die has to do with my restriction, but we'll get to that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that is specifically and the one I'll take because I want to be on objectives. Because fun fact, with the two other units that I have, I get bonuses if they're on zonal objectives. That's why.
Yeah. I like this for certain units. Unit Bone Golems is going to be able to sit and probably just hold out. You shouldn't have much of a problem with those. If you're looking at A lot of the other units, I don't know if I want them necessarily sitting there. Like Legionnaires, okay, that makes sense. Praetorian Guards could probably sit pretty well.
You know what? Sit your stupid oh my god, the 20-inch. Hold on.
Well, so Cares is what you're thinking of.
No,
It's
no,
a
no,
little
no,
bit.
no, no, no,
Oh
no.
no.
20-inch, 20-inch, the 20-inch dudes.
You're
Caratids.
yeah, Caratids.
Sit your Caratids on there. Barrage
Maybe.
3, range 20. Sit
Yeah,
3 of those suckers on there. That's 3, 6, 9, 10. That's 10 shots at 20 inches, right? They can
yeah.
aim and fire to hit on threes. Armor pierce 2. And God forbid if they hit memories of old. Now they're what? Barrage 4, 8, 12, 13.
Yeah.
That's I know Caratids are a new model, so not a lot of people have them, but I would take Caratids. The Caratids solve this objective immediately. And I hate you that you can use a Caratid to do this because of our restriction.
Yeah.
I actually hate you.
I do like them for that. I think that is good. I said, especially if you are putting enough pressure on your enemy on the other flank, that's going to leave a side open. You have pretty good shots, and you could have some other support piece be somewhat close to there to be able to take out maybe the random unit they try to advance forward with to hit them. Overall, I do think it's good. 3 rounds can be tough. I think this is, again, potentially late game or later game because maybe they'll have less stuff, or early if they are just not caring about one of the objectives. This does mean if you are an opponent to Old Dominion and you know the things they can do, that you might have to be careful of. I can't necessarily do a refused flank. Because if I do that, I might be giving you points. And the games I've played, sometimes it is the little difference of a point to maybe 2 points. So, overall, good. Let's take a look at what else we got. Obdurate Bone.
What the hell's Obdurate? Oh, I'm going to have to Google
we have
this.
one more after this, yeah.
This is not going to be Obdurate.
Yep.
Obdurate? What the hell does Obdurate mean?
Maybe? Obdurate?
Let's see. Hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Obdurate.
Obdurate? Are you looking up how to pronounce these?
Absolutely. It's on Google.
Good. I
it's
like that.
Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinions or course of action. Oh, so it's stubborn. It's basically obstinate. Okay.
So this one is the objective is completed when a friendly infantry regiment does not become broken after being charged by at least 2 enemy regiments in the same round.
Hold on. This sounds familiar. God damn it. Hold on.
That's all right.
You talked about it, and now I gotta check something.
I like this one the least. And my problem is what needs to occur is so specific that your opponent has to be charging you. Okay, they probably want to charge you. They have to charge you with 2 units in the same round, and they can't kill enough of you.
Yeah. I'm going to spoil it.
Yeah.
This one I will spoil. We have the same exact one, no extra restrictions.
Okay.
And I'm just going to check this objective. Tell me if I'm right. I'm just going to read mine. This objective is completed when a friendly infantry regiment does not become broken after being charged by at least 2 enemy regiments in the same round. Yeah, so it's the same one.
It's the exact same thing.
Yep.
It might be something that everyone has. I haven't seen all the cards.
That one might be one of them. Some are repeats, and some are repeats with restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this one for you. I like this one for me, because I tend to be the person that baits people out. I'll put my Thanes in the middle of the battlefield, and they don't care about flanks because I have the Ray in there.
Yeah.
Right? Because that specifically, I give them that special relic. And it's banner? Relic? I don't know, whatever. Oathstone for those old Warhammer Fantasy players. Yeah. So he doesn't care about flanks. He doesn't really get broken. And so people will charge both sides to try to wipe him out. They'll kill maybe 2-3 stands out of like 6.
Yeah.
And I'm still there.
The tough part about this is that requirement that they have to get 2 charges on you.
Yes, that's the problem.
And then you don't break, because that could be a lot. I don't know, because when I think about this, okay, I'm thinking again Legionnaires because of their defensive abilities, or maybe more Praetorians. They're a little more rare. You get a lot more Legionnaires. That's why I'm thinking more Legionnaires, but Praetorians. Or Bone Golems, because again, you have the ability to survive. Because you do have. Oh no, sorry, they wouldn't count because. No, they are not infantry. So actually, Bone Golems can't do this one because it's infantry as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it so much rougher. The fact that it has to be infantry. What would I put this up with? Um, Maybe Anathatali, maybe. If not, probably my Praetorians. Nah, I'm this one I think I like the least of all the cards we've seen because this one
This is not the best one.
no, your opponent must do something to make this
Yeah.
happen.
And it's specifically also like my army, I'm a little bit more for. I still don't like it. So let me
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
don't like this, but I feel this is better in case of my army rather than let's say your army.
You're more defensive. You can be offensive, but you have units that I would look at and say that is a defensive unit. I get the I heard it too. I get the same feeling when I think about city states. We don't know their cards yet, but city states having this card I like. I like Hoplites or someone like that with this card because I like
Yeah,
the idea of units that have support attacks as many as attacks as they have with decent defenses can just sit there and you're going to get into them. I don't mind this. Where else don't I mind this? The fact that it's infantry makes it tough. I would say Spires, I don't like it if they have something like that. Nords, I'm not a big fan of them having it either. Really, you? Actually, yeah, really, you. I'm not. Maybe Hundred
I
Kingdoms.
still don't like it. Like I said, I still don't
No,
like
I don't
it.
like it.
You know who I do like this with? I wonder if the Greeks. I wonder if the Greeks get.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't know their cards yet, but if the Greeks get it, they are, in my mind, from what I've seen so far, haven't played them.
yeah,
They fit a more defensive play style for a lot of their pieces.
absolutely.
So I see them liking this idea. But all right, but this is Old Dominion. I think we got one more left.
Let's
No.
see.
Yeah.
Bow before
No,
death is the
no, we did
same.
that one. And we've got
Apotheosis is the
Apotheosis.
last one.
That's the last one we were looking
Yep.
for. Okay, I knew I was looking for one more. This one I wish was a two of. This one's amazing. Complete it as soon as you get to tier 3 in either pool. Importantly, it doesn't care which one. So if you happen to be running the Fallen Divinity, it still
Yeah.
counts if you get to her tier 3. If I get this one, it's an automatic because tier 3.
Yeah.
If I don't
That's
get
one of your
tier
easy
3,
ones.
yeah, if I'm not tier 3, I've lost the game. And honestly, I'm probably going to hit tier 3 even if I'm losing the game because
Yeah.
you're killing a bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
The only if I'm not getting this, it means that I'm doing so amazingly well that you don't have an army left because I've killed so much of you. You don't have anything to strike back at me. And if that's the case, I'm happy. I have no problem if I do this because I've killed so much of you. This one to me is automatic. I would absolutely
Yep.
take this one every single time.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree. I agree.
So what's the ideal hand? We pull 5 cards. What do you want
What are
to
your
see in
top
5?
three? Okay. So the problem is your specific problem is you have Fallen Divinity and then everyone else. And I don't think
Yes.
any army does that. I don't think any army has
No, that has 2
Yeah.
complete different play styles.
Yeah.
I think Apotheosis I want to see that. in my hand.
Apotheosis is one. Yeah, that's definite.
Um,
Let's say okay. So I'm gonna go more general because of the Fallen. You have that 2 play style. So Apotheosis is definitely one. Where is it? Memories of the Golden Age is
and there
2.
could be 2.
Yeah.
There could be 2 copies.
And
of
then
that. My perfect hand, I think, has 2 copies of it in it.
and then Death Comes for All, which is the slay the enemy warlord or just a character stand if you've already slayed the warlord.
Yeah. If I'm talking about the 3 cards I want to see, I want Apotheosis and 2 copies of Memories of a Golden Age. If I'm talking about the full 5 for choices, I want those 3.
I have a weird question about Death Comes for All.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe it's the way it's worded. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know.
That's all
So
right.
it says this objective is completed if you kill the enemy warlord. If the enemy warlord has already been slain, this objective is completed immediately when you kill enemy character stand. Okay, you already have the secondaries in turn 1. How is the warlord I'm not understanding this. The objective is completed if you kill the enemy warlord, right?
Yeah.
Why does it have that second part?
You can score 1 in a round, I believe is the reason why. If we actually look at the rules, I think you can only score 1 secondary a round. Do you have the rules open in front of you?
No, because you know why? They're in the scenario pack, which doesn't exist anymore.
No. The very end they do. in
I try. Oh, in the rulebook.
chapter 11. Yeah, chapter 11.
Oh
of the
my god!
rulebook,
I try to
actually.
find it. Okay.
Yeah,
You find it real quick. Only
I'll
because.
try. I just can't do anything on my screen because I'm projecting.
Yeah, no,
things.
you're good. You're good.
People already
No, it's
noticed at
'cause-
one point I kind of pushed some things over.
No, you're good because it's more of I try to find it in the rulebook, and I swear to God, I couldn't find it.
It's like chapter 11.
Okay, good.
I know exactly where it is. Let me.
That
let me
might
try to
be
pull
the
it up.
reason why then that you can only score one secondary turn. That would answer that question immediately. I was wondering.
Sorry,
I was reading
chapter
that.
12.
Oh,
Not
okay.
chapter 11. My apologies. Chapter 12.
No, it's just really weird because I was reading that. I'm like, I don't understand why that restriction is there.
So objective, everything like that, secondaries is on page 105.
Okay.
I would throw it up on the screen as well for anyone watching, but I need to rearrange the way I have stuff on my screen if I start moving stuff
You're
around.
good. You're good. You're good.
Secondary objective, scoring secondary objective. Each secondary objective card gives you the conditions required for completing it. Once you complete a secondary objective, make a note of the round number it was completed on. Note that some decks contain multiples. You cannot achieve the same secondary objective more than once per round. No, it doesn't say that. So you
death
actually
comes for all
can.
So I have no idea why this is. Maybe I bet you $5 in the scenario pack. It says you can only score one secondary a round.
They're probably doing this to future proof for that,
Yeah.
or for another. Maybe they'll do a mission at some point where you're drawing secondaries as the game goes on.
True. Okay.
So this is
Makes
future
sense.
proof.
Yep. Okay. It's just the way they worded. I'm like,
Yeah. No. The way it's worded right now, it's pointless. But I do like the concept of future proofing
those might be
for
three.
what they're going to do.
those would be my three. Death comes for all because you're gonna want to kill the enemy warlord or a character stand. Well, it's not or you want to kill the enemy warlord. Period.
Yeah.
Memories of the Golden Age is going to happen.
Yes.
Especially if you hit tier 3. And yeah, you want apotheosis.
You're only getting memories of old if apotheosis is going off. Again, you're going to get that, or you're winning so huge, or you don't have an army left.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, all right. So that gives us a bit of their objectives. For anyone who gets some games in, tries these out, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see, what you hope to have in your hands when you draw your set of 5. Our goal is to go through this for all the different factions. Like I said, we're doing Dweg almost immediately. You'll have a separate video, but it'll be shortly here after this. And the other ones we're going to do as well. Those ones we just got to get copies of and get to be able to see because we just currently don't have those armies.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the extra copies of the City States box to come in because once it does, we're going to split that box. I'm going to paint up some Nordish men. And mostly it's the Jotnar I want. He looks really cool. But, all right. On behalf of everyone here then for our show, has a good hobby. It's a great gaming.